Words of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad in hopes that we wouldn't say it first, but truth must be told. Gate, when we knock, you better bump straight. Now we got some controversial questions, Rod, because well, we'll go with the first question. We can get right crack. Hey, we'll bite right down into it. Cause you know how Rod do it. He go right into it. Brain banging, right? University 101. All right, Rod. So in your perspective, what is the oldest tribe on the planet? That's the first question of today's assignment for you. What is the oldest tribe on the planet from your perspective?
It depends. You want to use the modern name or you want to use the ancient name?
Go ahead. Hey, drop both of them. Drop the ancient and the modern. Shit, we need it all. We need the whole.
Modern. In modern times, they called Old Mississippi, Old Mississippians.
Okay.
Traced back to Olmec, Inca, Maya. The ancient name of the Old Mississippi is Atlanteans.
Okay.
So we always been here. When the whole out of Africa story told us in reverse, everybody didn't come from Africa.
Go ahead.
Right? People came from America and populated the world. They told us everything in reverse. So when they show you all them Africas, all them arrows and the out of Africa theory, you got to remember it's a theory. But when you trace back the the chemistry of the biology of the human body, the carbon that makes the human body is corn. And it's an undisputed fact that the corn is originated from over here. Right? So if everybody is made out of corn, we had to make the corn to make the rest of them people.
Mm-hmm.
Roll the corn. We know the truth now.
Now,
So
what
that,
do you? Okay, you finished.
Go ahead. Go with the question.
All right. So some people are saying that the Twa man is one. Is one. I think the Twa and the Mississippians really are the same people. The Twa and the Mayans, all them are the Twa.
Well, you got to look at it like a tree.
Yeah.
The San and the Twa are the oldest tribes on the motherland continent.
Mm-hmm.
They're also the oldest ones that was the Asians, because when the daughters of the earth originally migrated around the earth, because it was all women at one point.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They was all under 5 feet tall.
Mm-hmm.
When the men came, those men that came was over 7 foot tall.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It was only a handful of original males through parthogenic production of the female that's earthborn with a soul that originate from the spirits of the earth.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm firstborn of the earthborn parthogenic son of the great mother.
Mm-hmm.
Adopted by Enki as Loki in the story of the ice princess and being adopted by I think it was Odin.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, he was adopted and became the brother to Thor. Thor is in Leo,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And they gave in Leo the jurisdictional authority by Anunnaki birthright, but that shit don't apply to us.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They trying to make what apply to them on Nibiru, what apply to them in Sirius, apply to us on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
Nope, I'm the crown prince. I'm the one come to set the record straight. I'm the one to tell you that it ain't nobody out there did what Malachi did. Ain't nobody out there did what Elijah did. Ain't nobody out there did what Garvey did. That 3 alone, that could be a holy trinity for our new reality. You want to really get into it. Because the rest of these Negroes is working for the enemy. And the only reason you know they wasn't is because the enemy was infiltrating them. Mm-hmm. The enemy not gonna never infiltrate somebody because they don't have to, that work for them. Right? They infiltrated them. They got the records to prove it. I'm not making it up. They said it. I didn't say it. They the one kept the records of infiltrating the Moorish Science Temple. The government, the United States corporate government kept the records. It's called FBI files.
They think like call to the ceiling too.
Yeah. They kept the files, the actual written papers from the era that was contemporary with the time that these men walked.
Mm-hmm.
We just so intelligent that we some goddamn fools. We educated fools. They educated us, but we still remained fools because their education was never to raise our consciousness. It was only to guide our footsteps with these blinders on called misinformation.
Mm-hmm.
They told us they was going to give us the misinformation, and they gave it to us. They told us they was going to give us false narratives about our history, and they gave it to us. And now you got us, the people that they said they was going to do that to, fighting to hold on to the narrative that Master gave them. But they don't think that's what they fighting for.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They think because Master told you that if you want your free, you got to fight how I tell you to. Mm-hmm. How the hell am I get free following your instructions? You the one holding me bondage. Won't you just let me go?
Mm-hmm.
Right? But no, a lot of these in the way Negroes is just that, in the way. Your preachers, your imams, all these Negroes following the Bible, telling you a Hebrew. Wasn't no Hebrews over here before 1492. Even if we spoke Paleo-Hebrew language, we wasn't calling ourselves no 12 tribes of Israel. We wasn't calling ourselves the chosen ones of Yahweh. Yahweh didn't choose me. He can't be the God of earth, and his people don't have a natural, organic homeland. Why he got to kill everybody else to give you a homeland? Why he got to go ethnic cleanse? So if you following a God that believes in ethnic cleansing in order to give you a place to be, that means you're an interloper. You're a usurper. You're an underminer. You're an infiltrator. You're a parasite. You here in order to get what your fake God told you he was gonna give you if you help him overthrow the real God. He can't overthrow. You can't be God. Big Mama know everything you're gonna do for you do it. She just let you do it to say I told you wasn't gonna be able to take this from this one.
Right. I
already told you, but you could try. I mean, if everybody can get an opportunity to try for a shot at the title, you in the wrong weight class. Them Dr. Umar, unapologetically African. What's my man with the foundational Black American, the ex-pimp? Tariq Nasheed. They don't know what they talking about. But they believe in their heart, they telling you the God-given truth. God is no respecter of persons. If God choose somebody to be better than somebody, that means he didn't create everybody. Because if we all his children, he love us all the same but different.
He's slapping them around too much.
Yeah, right? you not finna look. You're not finna say I'm gonna exalt this son and I'm gonna hold this one back. You're not gonna do that. You're gonna turn them all loose and say, do it at your own merit. What can you do with the skill sets you have to develop into the qualified person to take this spot? All y'all my sons, so let's have at it. Let's see which one of y'all can outshine the rest of them. Who gonna win the race? My mama told me a long time ago, the race don't always go to the swift. Most of the time it go to the slow and steady.
Right.
That's why the tortoise beat the hare, because the hare can't run straight. This is what they don't understand. The hare's running in circles. But the tortoise is just moseying along in a straight path. And then the hare gets tired from running in circles, so he got to take a nap. And the turtle was just moseying on the straight path. Mm-hmm. He in no hurry. He gonna get there. He see the finish line from where he at. Right? So what we looking at is a lot of people that believe that they know the truth. But that belief don't make you right. You can believe something all you want to be 100% wrong, but you believe it. But you don't know you're wrong because you believe it. I don't believe nothing. I need to go see it. Show me. Right? So if they can't show me, they can just I hear what you're saying over there, but since you can't show me, I'm gonna listen to what you're saying, but I'm gonna mosey on along and win this race.
Hey, that brings me to my next question, brother. Because I got people coming on, they get mad about me saying that Christopher Columbus wasn't the first to sail to America, that it was Africans that sailed over here to America. They might want to call Africa then when they was coming, but like the people from that land was selling over here before Columbus.
Well, yeah, you got to remember they had three major empires before Europe got off the ground real good.
Go ahead.
They had the Songhai Empire, the Mali Empire, and the Ghanaian Empire.
Mm-hmm.
Those three cover about 60% of sub-Saharan Africa. But they never stopped the people in the bush from living how they wanted to live because they were civilized in the city.
Mm-hmm.
That's the difference. The ones over here, they want to stop the people from living and minding their business in the bush and force them to live in the city.
Mm.
Everybody ain't supposed to live in the city just like everybody ain't supposed to live in the country. Some people ain't wired that way.
Right.
But if they get us out of the country, then they can say, look, they abandoned their land. We ain't abandoned ship. We was on the land. How can we abandon ship when we on the land?
Right.
You mean I jumped off my horse, my camel, my mule, but I can't abandon ship. I'm on dry land.
They say but they couldn't dispute the fact that this. Could you go in on this? How is it watermelon? They say watermelon origin in Africa, but it's watermelon over here thousands of years before Columbus. How is it corn on both sides? How's all these different things that's origin from different places on both sides prior to Columbus?
Yeah, we talked about that. Remember, the Afar tribe. Look them up.
Yeah.
Right. The Afar tribe is the cousins to the old Mississippians.
Go ahead.
Yeah, right.
I see that.
Now they went over to settle in what we call the motherland, but it's really, if it's the motherland in America, the womb.
Go ahead.
Right.
Yeah.
So when they say Africa, it's a play on telling you about the Afar Inca. Mm-hmm. Remember we talked about that? The Afar Inca?
Mm-hmm.
And they say America is a more Inca.
Mm-hmm.
But they try to give us these new words and change and alter perception. See, what they doing is hijacking your genetic memory. We don't remember being Americans, but we remember being a more Inca. But if it sounds close enough, we'll go along to get along because it sounds like it's right without no investigation put into it. The Afar Inca, Africa is actually Ifraq, which is an Arabic word meaning divided.
That's right.
It wasn't divided until the Berlin Conference when they divided it up.
That's right.
Right. So now we got the Scramble for Africa. Right. That's a book, A Scramble for Africa, about the fallout after the Berlin Conference, which took place in Germany, mind you, not in Africa. And then you have the new people that's calling it Al-Qibalan. That's Swahili. That's not even an original language. Swahili is a multi-ethnic derivative used in order to trade in human cargo.
Like a combination of different languages.
In other words, it's a hodgepodge of languages patched together to make one coherent slave trade language.
Yeah, so you can talk to different.
That's the history of Swahili.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not Al-Qibalan. There's no ancient map with Al-Qibalan on it nowhere. You find the old maps with Sudan written across it or Ethiopia, but you don't find now they can't find you one in English, Arabic, or otherwise where it's referring to the continent of Africa as Alkebulan. It don't exist.
Yeah, but it's the thing too. The word Sudan means black, right? It means black. So if you say the land of the black, it's the same thing as saying Sudan. Really, technically, if you want to get to linguistics.
Well, yeah, and it's really referring to, because you gotta remember the Nile run through Sudan,
Yeah,
right through Egypt
yeah,
into the Mediterranean.
yeah.
Now, what most people don't know is the Mediterranean is a crater from a Vermonters War.
Mm-hmm.
And the Sahara Desert used to be, they used to have a massive freshwater lake there.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? It was, at the time, it was the biggest lake on the planet because it took up like 2/3 of the Sahara Desert.
That's right.
And around that lake, it was all kinds of foliage and tropical forests. Well, two things happened. The war came, the Vermonters War came, they blew the hole that they say it's a crater.
Yeah.
But it ain't a crater. It's a bomb blast spot from what they call Elijah Muhammad call him he got a name. They call him bunker busters today.
Yeah.
Right. But Elijah Muhammad described it. He described it. He said the bomb that's gonna come off the baby plane is gonna burrow underground a mile.
Yeah.
And then it's gonna explode. And the blast of the size of the crater that is going to leave depend on the amount of explosive in the blast.
That's right.
Right? So it created that big crater. The Mediterranean didn't used to be as big as it is now. But when they blew the crater, a little saltwater sea like the Caspian Sea is about the size it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
But when they blew the crater, it blew up all that. They got whole cities under the Mediterranean right now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But they be ignoring it like it don't exist, because if we start asking questions, well, how did all these cities get underwater?
That's right.
It used to be dry land. Right? And now they all under the Mediterranean Sea because the Nile have to drain into the Mediterranean to fill in the crater, to separate the people from Europe from the people from what we call Africa, Middle East today. It was a war zone. Just like most of the desert is fallout from ancient nuclear blasts. From we had Anunnaki wars, pyramid wars, Vermonters wars. There ain't none of this new. We just repeating the same dumb stuff all over and over, like we didn't learn the last time we went through it.
Right.
Cycles within cycles. But only way you're going to break a cycle is recognize it, expose it, and that flips you out of the loop. And that's how you keep your path straight. Sirata Mustaqim.
Yeah, that's straight and narrow. Hey, Raw, I got another question for you, because we're talking about the melting pot here, and there really was a Q&A, but the melting pot was a good point, because I heard you talk about the redheads, different tribes that came over. The Huns were brought over, different people were brought over, and some of these people mixed in with us. So some of us got different features. Some of us might have a Hun somewhere, or Irish somewhere. So could you go in on why they call the Turtle Island the melting pot? Go ahead. Okay,
so on the rule of the law of the land say everybody under your own vine and fig tree. No, but you all even got it written that you're supposed to worship under your own vine and fig tree. That means we welcome any culture over here. Excuse me. Let me get a drink.
Hey, y'all, hit that like, hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel, man. We're about to go in. We're about to crack heads at Twist Couch. We got Chief Pontiac in the building, y'all. Free Malachi Z. York. We're waiting on Larry Hoover to get out right now, y'all. Hey, peace. Go ahead, Rod.
So the great melting pot concept comes from when you get this many groups of people, it's going to always be people that leave the group. Those people is going to form a whole new culture. And when all of the tribes or people that's worshiping under their own vine and fig tree then seeded what's called the main portion of the society. This is the veins between each one of the organs. The organs being the villages. Right? So the people that leave and become part of what's called the overculture becomes the impurities that rise to the top in smelting metal. The concept melting pot comes from smelting metal. Now, once these people come together, they're going to mix ideas, concepts, they're going to mix musical styles, they're going to mix dance moves. Everything that what you call culture is going to be mixed, and it's going to be what's commonly called today pop culture. Right? But even though it's pop culture, under that, you still have them brothers in California, Crips, Bloods, Vatos, Lokes. They still are there in their own set. But they still feeding the larger society with defectors. Right? So this is the pressure. The pressure was put on everybody by the government, using unnecessary force to force you to do something that was necessary. This is how they gave Paleface what we call fornication rights under the order of the king to become a MF. Right? Because they gave them free run. Remember, what is the spoils of war in the 1500s and the 1400s? It's the women.
That's right.
It's the wealth. And it's the children. Right? Why do you think they call a woman's behind posterior a booty?
Right.
Booty is a spoil of war.
Right.
Right? If you get conquered in war, that's how they unleash their rapers on you. Because you don't want to comply with the ones who think they win in the war. They allow or they activate rape culture. And now they can use the rape culture to villainize the innocent and glorify the wicked using the same culture, rape culture. Right? It's the government doing it. The government is pushing the agenda using propaganda means by exploiting the gossip channel and clogging it up with a bunch of don't tell this person because this person is a good person. And you don't want the good person to get tripped up for doing something to the bad person. And then they're going to send the police in. You got the good person, the bad person, and then the police. Where they come from? You got to think your way out of the trap. You can't just walk out the trap because it's not going to be that easy.
Right.
Right? You have to pinky in the brain it. What we going to do today, Pink? Take over the world. Take over the world. Right? How you going to take over the world when you can't even take over your own house? Let that sink in. You want to take over the world, but you don't even want to you can't even take over your own house.
Right.
You can't conquer your own home that you live in and sleep in. Right? So this is where the problem come in, because the average person don't want to conquer the world. And they still don't want to conquer their own life. Conquer your own life. Don't worry about the world to take care of itself if everybody conquer their own life. But you've been taught to disregard the ambitions to be your highest, most authentic self in order to go along and get along with the colonizer. But you swear that you a civil rights activist and you going against him, but you're doing everything he told you to do to fight him. Coming up with your own strategies, you use it. He said, okay, this is the rules. If you fight me, you have to fight me like this.
Yeah.
That's retarded. As soon as your colonizer, your oppressor, tell you that it's okay for you to fight back as long as you fight me this way, He won because as long as you fighting the way he told you to fight, you're not gonna win the war. Guaranteed. I don't care who you think you is, how big and how bad. If your enemy tell you how to fight him, he's never going to tell you a coherent, functional strategy for you to ever come out on top. He gonna always give you the strategy that's gonna keep you under his jurisdictional authority. And if you don't change your strategy, you just gonna fall for it. You gonna go along to get along. A lot of people don't think they go along to get along. They think they radicals and rebels, but they some tap dancing, bootlicking, brown nosing, go along to get along. That's their game. That's their clique. They are members and don't even know it. Go along to get along, gang.
Now, Raw, we got a lot of Caucasian. Well, it's a lot of them. They think they're Caucasian. They really not, because you gotta have one. But we got a lot of fans that's on here, and they, everybody's still dealing with the white and the black thing.
I don't deal with it because that's the most retarded thing to me.
They white, and people, it's people that think they really white people, right? Are they really black people? And that's so. Could you go in on how they the ethnic group thing and how they using that to try to, the white and black thing? Ain't really no white black people. It's all game. White, it's not even they're not even dealing with skin.
So skin color is an artificial caste system.
Mm-hmm.
As long as they can get you to follow the skin color edict in the pseudosciences that support the fallacy, they got you trapped in a divide and conquer mechanism that's going to always keep them in power. So if they so-called white folks and they've been here longer than their family can trace back into anything 1800s, they mulattoes, octroons and quadroons. They not none. Remember, they had gave the pale face during the so-called slave years absolute right to rape the women. Right. That was part of the compensation for running the plantation and masquerading as the owner of the plantation.
Right.
Is they had the reign to go out and do whatever they wanted to the women from the field. Right. It's part of the war strategy. Okay, now they didn't make all of those quadroons, octroons, mulattoes, Melungians, mestizos, and the list goes on and on, mixes of children that could be passing for paleface, pass for white, imitating the life. And then they turned them all loose and they all moved north. Most of them moved north and married in to what we call the white community. Remember, they was marrying pale faces to escape the oppression of being recognized as being black.
Right.
Which is two legal statuses. They jump in the caste system from the bottom to the top because they got the skin to fit in the top echelon. Most of your Hollywood celebrities is mulattoes. They quadroons, they octroons. Yo, John Wayne, yo, Fred Astaire,
Brad Pitt,
all them. Yep. They all anybody whose family been in America longer than 100 years is they not pure-blooded Caucasian no more, European.
That's a fact, Ron. That's a straight up fact.
And that's that go back to the great melting pot philosophy.
Yeah.
The one drop of blood doctrine. God's crucible. What did you do in the crucible? You smelt. It's a melting pot. And only you need time, temperature, and pressure to cause the catalyst of transformation to take place.
That definitely happened in America.
Yeah. Look, when they was doing the final analysis of the effectiveness of obtaining that one drop of blood to give them ascension rights. It's all about ascension.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
It's all about ascension. It ain't about nothing else.
Yeah.
But we want to call it good and evil. Okay, well, whatever it was, it ain't about that. It's about ascension rights and violating the free will universe and making amends for the error of producing a sentient being that was denied the rights of ascension. This is what it's a great debauchery, right? Somebody did something. When you talk debauchery, you talking all kinds of wicked being done at one time. It was done in the laboratory. It tell you in the Anunnaki tablets what they did, and it tell you the remedy. Enki told him the remedy was to give him a drop of Anunnaki blood. The concept remains the same. If you take a sentient being, he don't have ascension rights, but you can take a ascended being from any of the ascended rising families and give them a drop of blood to the ones that need to ascend, and you activate they motherline DNA ascension rights. This is what this is all about.
Hey, what do you say about? I remember Elijah Muhammad talking about the different. He used to explain in basic format the different people on the planet, but he explained them in color format. And he used to say the red man, the black man, the yellow man, and I think he was the brown man.
Elijah was identifying the different strata of the caste system.
Okay.
Right. He only gave like 5 different colors.
Yeah.
Right. If you go into India and you look at it from a different perspective, it's not based on skin color. They put skin color into the caste system later. That was Enlil doing. Those stringy hair, yellow Hindus, them Enlil children.
Go ahead.
Inky children was displaced by them and put at the very, very bottom. And they call them the untouchables, the Dravidians. They got a couple other names for them too. But they the darkest ones. And some of them still got the same straight hair, but they just so dark, they got purple and blue tint to them.
And they call them thugs, like in Thug Life.
Those are the devotees to Kali Ma.
Yeah, the thugs.
Yeah, those were the ones who held the motherland's most sacred. They believed in maintaining the balance and equilibrium of justice across the land in order to keep mama satisfied. Because if mama's satisfied, she gonna be able to give each child instructions on finding harmony. And when all of the children know how to find their own harmony, the family is in balance. Right? I talked to Mike Penny, Michelle. He called me 2 days ago. Anyway, so when you look at these different classifications, the classifications is tools of division. Right? Who did Malachi say win the race and racism?
Nobody.
Nobody. You know why? It's not a real race. Racism is not a real race. It's a fictitious race.
Go ahead.
It's a sidebar race in order to distract you from the original struggle. Original sin wasn't eating from the tree of knowledge. The original sin was trapping people in a box and calling them your pet and breeding them like animals, like the same way you do the dogs. You ain't supposed to do that to people. Right? But most of us believe Eve ate the apple and gave Adam a bite, and so we all doomed for all eternity for being hungry.
Now, Rod, now let's get into this. The slave narrative. I'm starting to think that they came out with this about around the 1800s, 1865. I think they came out with it right in after the Civil War. So, based on your perspective, because they couldn't have came out with this before the 1800s, us being a slave narrative. Because, like I said in that movie, I remember them King George when the British came over, they asked these people working on the plantation. They said, y'all can come work for King George and be free. And they said, well, we ain't slaves. We just work here. That's what they told the dude riding on the horse, British dude. So when do you think they created this? You from Africa? They started trying to tell us we from Africa as slaves. That narrative from as slaves, because Africans is already over here prior to that whole slave narrative, 1492.
I've been saying for the longest we've been marrying up and down the eastern seaboard with many tribes from Africa's royal families.
Yeah.
Right. This was so that the royalty can keep diversified blood so that they don't have inbred traits. Because they were still marrying for power ancestrally, but because they also incorporated blood from other lands, it kept the blood where it was so diversified that you don't have the birth defects because you understood genetics. If you don't understand genetics, what I'm talking about now sound like straight gibberish. But when you like for instance, if you look at the Appalachians where it was prolonged, isolated inbreeding among a small group of Europeans, and they got a distinctive, what we call an inbred look.
Right.
All it does is cause the traits that's most prominent to be more pronounced in the physiology. The phenotype is a reflection of the genotype. The exaggerated features show the lack of diversity in the bloodline. Right? But when the bloodline have diverse features, this is because you incorporating outside blood. And some of y'all gonna look the same and some of y'all not. Right? So we got nappy hair natives that been here the whole time, and we got straight hair natives that been here the whole time. But all of them is dark as a mug from being baked in that Mississippi sun.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So you can't tell somebody that you ain't one of us unless they character show you difference. It's the only way you can prove it. We had a broad spectrum of people. When you go back, yeah, they described the original melanated woolly haired people that looked to them like Africans when they got here. They described them in their writings.
Yeah.
Right? They still ain't saying we from Africa yet, though. Remember that. Okay, now, they also in their writings describe the ones with the dark skin and the straight hair like Chief Warhorse.
Right.
Right? She got naturally what we call wavy hair.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If that's her hair texture and her skin is, heavily melanated.
Yeah, silky looking hair texture.
Her family lineage can trace back, what she said, 11,000 years.
Yeah.
That she can go in and get the paper and go back 11,000 years. This was this one mama, and this one was this one mama, and this one was this one mama. She can go back 11,000 years, ancestor for ancestors, that she's already proven to the courts in this system.
That's right.
Right? So we know that her family didn't get brought over here on no damn ship.
Facts.
Because she couldn't have that lineage going back 11,000 years with a 500-year history.
That's right. Facts.
It's the same way you got a 2,000-year-old Jesus with a 500-year-old name. And nobody don't find that suspicious.
What?
Right? You can't have both. You can't have it both ways. Either Jesus was 2,000 years ago or Jesus was 500 years ago. But you can't have both of them.
Right?
It's one or the other in the name of the truth. That's according to right knowledge, right wisdom, right thinking, right understanding. That's all about the right-hand path for the righteous. You can't take what's correct and then make it incorrect and give it back to me and tell me it's correct, because I'm going to see the difference.
Right.
Right? So if I'm going to see the difference, then I'm going to correct you on the error that you inserted into the correct information. Now, other people that have been saturated with the information for so long, they don't believe it. they can't see the lie because they've assimilated into the concept or the storyline that the lie generate. It's the same thing when the actor gets stuck in character and got to go to the site to rediscover himself because he's been playing this movie role for 8 weeks and now he done lost 2 years. Especially the ones they call method actors, right? Where they stay in character through the whole filming of a movie so it'd be natural to them and come across as authentic on the screen, right? So once you get stuck in character with the fallacy and somebody that's breaking the character from the fallacy, you get offended because you feel like you being attacked. It's not an attack on you, it's an attack on that lie that they tricked you with. But don't nobody want to admit they got tricked. They the only ones got the truth. They swear up and down they got the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help me God. And I'm telling them you got the whole lie, nothing but the lie, so help you the devil. You coming over here doing devilish men in the name of God. Who your God? The devil. You don't even know it because he got you thinking that evil is good and good is evil.
Right.
Right. So if you twist their mind by keeping them disoriented, you can make them go wherever you want to because all they doing is staggering. All you got to do is bump them and they're going to go whatever way you bump them.
Right.
Right. It's the same as a drunk dude. You just don't know you information drunk. You drunk on lies. So when you get drunk on the lie, they bump you with another lie in the direction they want you to go. And the truth going to corral you because you're going to avoid the truth because it's going to be uncomfortable. And you can't stay in a stupor if you're uncomfortable because you're no longer being relaxed, being deceived. Once you break that comfort zone and then your mind start asking you questions that the other person's statements trigger. Right? Now you want to know, wait a minute. Why do that sound like that might be some validity to what they're saying? Or do you see something that they say come to pass and you're like, man, I don't believe what he be saying, but every time he say something, it happen. And he telling you the truth, you seeing it come to reality, and you still hate him for disturbing your life.
Hey, say Rod. So I'm writing. I got the questions written down. The next question I got for you is about jungle fever, because some people was noticing that some of these Moors came over here with Caucasian, pale-faced women for they wives, and then even like you just went in on a little bit of that too just a minute ago, but the jungle fever thing and. I guess it ties into the one drop of blood, I guess. But this is the part that tied into this is right here is the part of the question, though. Now, I put a tape out like about a week ago about it was like 5 incidents. The AI ended up finding 5 incidents where white women said something and then that triggered a black massacre or a Nubian town, Native American town being burned down. One incident is Rosewood. Another incident happened in Atlanta. You already know about the Tulsa, and then you already know about the Emmett Till when he flirted with the white girl or whatever in Mississippi. Now, so that brings me to my next question: the jungle fever, and why was these Moors so afraid of the Native American man over here looking at the white woman?
He wasn't. It's reverse psychology.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Go back and read Sex and Race by J. Roger and Nature Knows No Color Line.
Uh-huh.
It was reverse psychology. Read Superman the Man.
Uh-huh.
And he tell you how repulsed we were by the pale-faced woman.
Uh-huh.
The only way that we was going to accept her is you had to tell us she was off limit and manufacture her as the status quo of the best woman.
Alchemy in its highest form.
You can't tell no guy what to do. You can tell him what he can't do is the only way you're going to get him to do what he wouldn't do anyway.
Yeah. Makes sense.
It was reverse psychology.
Yeah, that's fact, bro.
That's all, because they had to get that drop of blood. The motherland, the pale-faced fatherland had did their part, right? Because they had free reign over the women on the family farm that they rebranded as a plantation.
Uh-huh.
And he was raping all of the whole family of women, producing offspring from them. Well, he did his part. So they used black celebrity status. And then you tell the God that's living like a God that he can't have something that his socioeconomic bracket say, that's bullshit.
Uh-huh.
I'm up here now. I feel my God force. You can't tell me what I can't have. It was just the same with the eugenics.
Uh-huh.
Right? What's the lady name that was pushing the eugenics? You remember her name?
I think you talked about on the you did a class on her.
And Walter Plecker?
It was Walter Plecker. I think Marcus Garvey got in helping to promote it a little bit. Then it was that other lady. What's her name? She the one that said she wanted all of get the Negroes hang the Negroes. What's her name in Virginia?
Hold on, I'm gonna tell you in 1 second. Margaret Sanger.
Yeah, I'm about to do a tape on her in a minute. Like, well, she tied into the tape on the app.
Listen, Margaret Sanger is a mulatto.
Yeah.
The fuck? She's a half. She a quarter.
Uh-huh.
Right? And she's playing the game because she know the rules of the game. She was a Eastern Star.
Mm-hmm.
She was a holder of the Masonic secret.
Uh-huh.
Walter Plecker was a high-ranking Masonic member. He was like 32-degree Scottish Rite Freemason.
Uh-huh.
They got the secret.
Mm-hmm.
Walter Plecker had to bow down to Garvey and come and bring him paperwork to read to know why we was in the condition we was in before Garvey would back down.
Huh.
All of it is in the Masonic literature that's kept in the Masonic Lodge, the Grand Lodge in DC and the one in England. They got all this stuff I'm telling you, they got it wrote down, typed out, and they got essays on it. All these are breeding programs, psychological programs, sociological programs that they run in experiments on us the whole time.
All right.
The Tuskegee experiment wasn't the only experiment like that was being done.
Say it again.
Yeah, the Tuskegee experiment.
Yeah, I was just about to ask you about that. Go ahead.
That wasn't the only one of those going on. Syphilis wasn't the only disease they was tracking throughout the communities of the people. They know what they made the disease in the laboratory. They know what it is.
What?
They want to make sure that the function that it carries is operating functionally. So they created those Planned Parenthood wellness centers so that they can monitor how and where they pathogens go. That ain't no accident. Humans don't naturally catch diseases.
Right. You gotta be injected with it.
That's all foreign interference in the biological organism. The human is the highest developed of all of the species in the animal kingdom. We are sum total of all of them. And they all are part of us. That's why the natives believe that we one with the spirit and we one with the animals. We one with the trees and we one with the fungus. We one with the soil. We one with the water. We one with all of it. Because when you get to the human, you get to the one that encompasses the highest total capacity of any animal. And this is proven by the reality that we subjugate every animal, including ourselves. So we had to be the top of the food chain. I tell them I'm not just an apex predator, I'm an apex predator, predatory predator preying on other predators.
Oh, yeah.
While everybody else is preying on the prey. I want the predators. I don't care about the prey. The predators is the bullies. I'm a bully beater. I don't go looking for no trouble, but when it come, I say no problem, just like 50 Cent. Right? What 50 say? 50 say, I never want a problem. But when they say they want a problem, I say no problem. And now they think I'm the problem. I'm not the problem. I'm just the MFing solution.
Right.
That's all. And the information is going to funnel through us, through the ones who already put in the work. That's why Noble Drew Ali needed to make sure that we read the writings of Manly P. Hall, Rudolf Steiner, Madame Blavatsky. So he said, pay attention to the white man, and I'm going to make it to the European, he said. Pay attention to the European, because I'm going to make them tell you the truth. Mm-hmm. And they all around the spiritualist movement time is the same time he's going in and out of lodges, changing the structure and the order by having the highest position in the lodge. And then they made fun of him in a movie series that came out recently. I think it might have been Lovecraft Country or something, where he went into the secret society and told them that he's the last descendant of Joshua. Mm-hmm. That they making fun of Noble Drew Ali. Mm-hmm. He got the blood and the right. Y'all just got the ceremony and the ritual. Mm-hmm. They was making fun of Noble Drew Ali because he went into their lodges and he was taking people out of positions and putting people in the positions that belong there. And then that means that the ones who came is guaranteed an L. They needed to get him off the board. They infiltrated to get him from reorganizing the brotherhoods that was going to put the proper men in their proper place. That's what he was doing. He was actively doing it. He wasn't talking about it. The stuff he talked about was his cover story. Because he knew that was going to get usurped, but he needed you to see it so that when you look back on history, you know what you're looking at. But you got tricked by the deceiver that crossed him out, and now you took sides with the deceiver, but you believe you still taking sides with the teacher. You got tricked by the dirty Moors. They played this game, they brought it as human chess. That's all it is human chess. And the people that's the key players is the Knights of the Round Table, the Moorish Order of the Round Table, where you read the clock of destiny in order to take yourself through the sacred drift, in order to follow the sands of Islam through the annals of time. Mm-hmm. And just like the time through the hourglass, so are the days of our lives. All of it is coded. Mm-hmm. But if you don't educate yourself above the condition, you will never see the convergence of the code to unravel the mystery of the ages. Mm-hmm. We all God, but we are the subject of God at the same time. Meaning that we only can oppress ourselves. Everybody outside of you is the illusion of an oppressor. They teach you how to oppress yourself, and you gladly do it in order to surrender your power, and you think you ain't selling your soul. Mm-hmm. But when you follow somebody that makes somebody more important than somebody else, that's how you sell your soul, because you're trying to get into an elite group, and it ain't no elite group that ain't a corrupt group. Because the elite already told you power corrupts. And absolute power corrupts absolute. They told you, Winston Churchill said, the truth so valuable it must be carefully guarded by a ring of lies. They told you they was waiting on the master to come with the master grip to raise the nations. Mm-hmm. Noble Drew Ali came, he told you he came to uplift fallen humanity. That's a process involved in that. It's not an overnight job. Right? And so it's a series of things that got to take place. All he got to do is know who to tag you at, flea flicker. We gonna razzle dazzle play on out the door. Right? So when they bump me off, that's a massive left bump off the red house. Right? He flea flickered to Elijah Muhammad. They tackled the wrong guy out of bounds. So he ain't in the game no more. So Elijah run with the ball. When he run with the ball, he find one of the greatest of all time to give aid and assistance because he's his front man, his blocker, El-Haj Malik El-Shabazz, that we call Malcolm X. But he came up in the streets as one of us as Detroit Red, right? He went and got trained in New York. That means that he was a traveling man. He went from west to east. He went from west to east in order to be of service to the one that came from the south to the north. Where roads intersect is where lines and dots connect. It's a series of events taking place. For us, they fortunate. But for the ones who had their foot on our neck, it's very unfortunate. It's a series of unfortunate events that's leading to the great collapse of cataclysm, right? Where the last shall be made first and the first shall be made last. And the ones that's first that don't want to get to last, they're going to end up being kicked in the ass. Because you already had your turn. It's somebody else's turn on this ride. So you're going to get off and you're going to let the people that was waiting behind the velvet rope through, right? Because y'all make me want to scream. But you didn't know I was dangerous, right? We all tell it in a different way. But to connect the dots with what you already know is the easiest way to get you to understand what I'm trying to explain. And that's why they always told you he comes speaking in parables, and not always parables. Sometimes it's analogies. Sometimes it's comparative analysis, right? But to be able to incorporate them in the right format to activate the consciousness of the ones who haven't seen the promised land yet, they didn't know that the land they was promised, they ain't gonna never get because they was promised a lie in the first place. Because you can't take from the rightful heir what's rightfully theirs and expect righteousness to prevail. It can't happen.
That's right, bro.
So the only way that righteousness can prevail is for the rightful heir to get the rightful inheritance and put the right people in the right place. Now that's all righteous, brother.
I'm telling you, Fred Ray, right on, right on.
That's an unchained melody.
Right is right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right is
so
right.
all the ones that did wrong, that's their issue. That got nothing to do with me. I'm only concerned with the ones of us that's been trying to do right. And sometimes when we was trying to do right, we did a little wrong because sometimes you got to do the wrong thing in order to do what's right. Sometimes in order to do what's right, you got to punch them up in the mouth.
Mm-hmm.
That's the right thing to do at the time. You got to already really accept this. I'm just going to do what's right. Right? And you might not have to punch nobody in the mouth your whole life doing what's right. But then sometimes you might have to take a head for you to do what's right. As the man of the house, somebody do something to one of these babies. Oh, they might not see me, but I'm coming. They might not know I'm coming till I get there, but I'll be there. Shock and awe. Surprise out of nowhere. Bang, bang. Upside the head. Whoops, upside the head. Whoops, the roof. We don't need no water. The ropes.
Hey, Rod, they break. So the Moors, Canaanites are bringing back up. They saying because they I put out a receipt, a clip where you said that which one of these tribes are Moors on the land, and can the Moors tell you which which tribe they was on the land. And some people saying, have they been tricked into thinking they Moors?
Yeah.
Right? So
Moor is a catch term, first and foremost.
Go ahead.
The righteous Moors know they tribe. This is why I said that.
Go ahead.
My brother-in-law is a righteous Moor. He know his chief is Angel Bay as a follower of Noble Drew Ali. Right? He know this without nobody having to tell him because he know his tribe. Right? Now, I got another homeboy, Glover Bay. He a righteous Moor. He know his tribe. Right? They know, and they still teach more science, but they teach it in a way that brings awareness to the members of their tribe. Right? They don't have to be flagging peace stone hand signs, but they will, because it's their tribal language. They talking in sign language, brother to brother, more to more. They read the literature. How in the hell is you a Moabite, right? Following a law when the god of the Moabites' name is Kimash? Make it make sense. The Canaanites had a whole nother god.
Well, to cut that as a clip.
Right? You can go in the Bible and look it up. The god of the Moabites' name is Kimash. I mean the mighty one. So if you're a Moabite, then under the catch term is Moor. Moor is a catch term. It's a term used to identify people with common physical characteristics. But they also have room for the variation of characteristics, because you can have a blacker Moor, you can have a Moor, and then you can have a tawny Moor. A tawny Moor is a Khazarian, a yellow half-breed mulatto Moor, a Zionist. They getting their instructions from Switzerland. That's the home of all finance on the planet.
Right.
Right? The most control you can have on the planet is control the purse strings of the entire planet Earth. You are the neutral party in all wars. Go back and find out when their last war was. You're going to find out the last war was with the French.
Right.
Why is that important? Because the French Revolution was ousting the Moors, the ones they was calling Moors, but they was calling them Berbers at the time. They wasn't calling them Moors yet. They was calling them Berbers. That means they came from the Ottoman Empire. They barbarians in English. They from the Barbary, which is east of Rome. Right? So this is how you know they different from the Atlanteans, or the, as they say in the book of Enoch, the people from Tartarus. Because Tartarus is the landmass called South America, and the closest 2 points of South America and Europe or Rome, they intersect at a westerly direction. So they call the Tartarians anything that was Atlantean. But it's because of Tartarus that they recognize the Atlanteans as being Tartarians. Right? They called them the light beings, so they labeled them as Hyperboreans. Right? They say they from the rainbow, as the Hopi prophesied the rainbow children, the different tribes of the original Earth tribes. Right? There was 7 distinct colors of the rainbow made up the Hopi rainbow generation of children.
Mm-hmm.
In the great melting pot, what happened to the rainbow when it's all of the distinct different fractals of light flip back to their regular multifractal capability? The rainbow fades and becomes pure light.
Go ahead.
Right? So all of it is telling you about what's the movement of the people, but they talking in the code, right? They using what's called Moorish alphabet, right? They call it Moorish alphabet because they talking about the Greek fraternal orders. All of the Greek societies are not of the Boule, but all of the Boule come out of the Greek fraternities. Right? The Boule comes from the French Boule. Here go France, going back towards Switzerland again. Right? And the Black Boule is the Boule extracted from the people and put on the FBI snitch program, confidential informant payroll. Right? We call them sellouts. We know they there. And sometimes we even know exactly which ones they are, Jesse Jackson. Al Sharpton. Al Sharpton is a puppet for the church. The church came here and forcing the religion down the throat of the indigenous people. And to prove you that they will even change the doctrine to capture the mind of the people, look up the Lenape Bible. Because in the rewrite of the old Bible, they went from the Romans and the Jews killed Jesus to the Lenape killed Jesus. Ray Hagen's got a whole lecture on it. Right? So when we putting all of the pieces together, you got to know where to look for the piece. Just because somebody don't look the part and don't talk the part, don't mean they wasn't playing the part. So the Boule society over here is made up of the ones who defected to the other side but remained in our community. That's still Boule society, taking on the prominent positions in order to usurp the rightful chiefs. But remember, we wasn't allowed in politics for a long time. But 60% of the presidents was mixed. And they tell you Obama your first black president. Why they call him a black president? Because he's already dead. What you mean, right? He's a clone. Akhenaten died in the 18th dynasty. Shortly thereafter, he defected. So when you clone a dead man, he's black, he's dead. But he walking around like he living. That's a resurrection story for your ass. The boys in Brazil wasn't cloning Hitler.
Go ahead.
That's why he sent Mussolini to go get the recently discovered body of Akhenaten. Right? And it was actually a trade-off. Using intelligence networks of the CIA. And back then it was, I think it was called the Kirkengrad, which was equivalent to the enforcement arm of the government. That's not the military spy network. And they passed off the tomb. They found it in the Grand Canyon, the same place they found King Tut tomb, but they made the trade in Cairo, Egypt, so we can think that King Tut tomb was found in Cairo, Egypt, or at the Great Pyramid Complex, but it wasn't. It was found over here.
That's facts.
The same with Akhenaten tomb. Akhenaten tomb was found when they excavated Arizona, the Grand Canyon temple sites. The original temple of Isis is in the Grand Canyon that's older than all of the pyramids on the planet.
That's right. Talk to
right?
him.
Also, the Temple of Osiris, the oldest Temple of Osiris, is in the Grand Canyon. That go back to this is actually the womb of the earth. This is where all of the earthborn is birthed from. This is where the diversity of the genetics is traced back to the O blood. That's why it's significant to know the blood and the right. Because then when you start tracing back through what happened and who done it, and then you look at their practices and their cultural practices, right? Kelly Love sent me a Candace Owens video that yesterday, I think it was, where she was going into how they was using this particular families was using apostasy to infiltrate and institute the blood rights of that family. Right? So when you realize what they doing, you can see the story using history as the lens. That's why they say in order to go forward, you got to first look back. You got to know where you came from, and that's going to tell you how to get where you're going. Because where you already been is a mirror map to your return back home. Right? So when you went up the Trail of Tears, you symbolically returned back down the Trail of Tears. Now you following the tracks of my tears, tears of a clown, when no one's around. Right? Now you understand the Hayoka message comes from the Hayoka high priest, Smokey Robinson. It's a Motown connection to an old Mississippi Delta. A Delta Blue, right? A Delta Blue is both a military code and a sorority code, right? Oprah defected. That's why she wasn't at Obama's party. You got to go back and look. They made it clear to the public that Oprah's seat at Obama's party was empty. Why? Why is that important? She didn't show up. Being who Obama is, Akhenaten, the old water cow, right? It might sound like I'm making fun of her, but I ain't. The old water cow had Heru, Eris, on the Blue House, would miss it for the world unless her dirt caught up with her. If you go back to the Book of Ruth, it tells you that she decided to go the other way and leave Ruth and Naomi to their own devices. She abandoned her sisters on the Three Sisters flip in order to do her own thing. And she went and cuddled up with the devil himself.
I like how you be. I like your your perspective on how you tell the story, Rob. Hey, somebody got a quick question, man. They dropped a shout out Amari Bay for the super chat. He says, could you Rod, could you go in on the tribes in the Caribbeans, the Puerto Ricans, the Dominican tribes, if you have anything on it?
Listen. So now when he's talking about Dominica, Puerto Rico, he can't leave out Haiti and Jamaica. Those islands, okay, on the mainland, we can only grow certain crops. So we got our delicacies was the stuff that's natural to those islands. The tobacco tastes different. The coffee tastes different. The beets, the sugar beets taste different, which gives a sweeter sugar than the sugar on the mainland. It's two different sugars. This variety of fruits and vegetables that grow on those islands, they don't grow on the mainland. And they got a culture developed around the original tribes, Arawak, Boricua, Haiti. All these is indigenous peoples. Now, they got a term for it. I forgot what it's called in Spanish, but it being the whitening of the skin. Because of the one drop doctrine in the preferential treatment given to the pale skinned people being put to the top of the class, everybody is going to aspire to be part of the top class. So they tell you it ain't no racism, but it's colorism.
Go ahead.
But it's still the same caste system of divide and conquer. But it's not given to them like it's given to us. It's antagonistically given to us here, right? But it's preferential treatment that makes them want to be lighter down there. But these cultures are warriors. Mm-hmm. If you go look at Puerto Rico, got cannons on every corner. Puerto Rico was a rebellious people to the colonizers. Right? Everybody fought to liberate slavery. So they changed the word slavery and made us all employees and gave us a job so we could suffer like Job. But anyway, when we go back and we see the history of warfare and rebellion in the islands, those islands always come up. Those tribes always come up. They are a condensed version of the mainland tribes. They fuses in combat is not as long as ours. They more quick to take action. Right now, it's the Spanish influence and the usurping of the language of the Arawak and Boricua peoples that make them teaches them that they not tribes from the Americas, right? They subtly infer it, and they come across to the people from the mainland as some of them being racist, but they not being racist. They being colorist. Racism is a different dynamic that's played out through socioeconomic leverages and hostile antagonism at the same time, where colorism plays on a more subtler influence, right? Even Mexico, Belize is just south of Mexico. Them people always been there, and they darker than the African.
Yeah, I've been down there. I've seen them.
Right, and I've interacted with the people from Belize. My Aunt Helen used to run with them in Chicago.
They look like
my Belizean friends coming over tonight. I want to get us a little nip for the hip. Won't you go buy us a drink? Okay, Helen. And then I end up being introduced to the culture of the Jamaicans, you know, and it's still the same tribal culture that's over here, but it's expressed with a different food stock from the different flora and fauna of the local environment. But they understanding of Big Mama is the same as ours.
Right.
In Dominica, Puerto Rico, and Mexico, how do you know Big Mama? She got a chancla. She the one with the chancla. She will bang you upside your head with that sucker too. Right? Because what they call slipper clans. They honor and mark ceremony with slippers. You have them on the mainland too. When they give you high honors, they give you a pair of slippers. Then you got blanket tribes. Because of the temperate climate, there's not a lot of blanket tribes in the Caribbean. They more slipper tribes. And that's why the chancla is what wages the weight. It's the same with the Samoans and the Tongans and the Hawaiians. Big Mama pull off that slipper, you know what time it is. It's a cultural phenomenon that's weaved through all of the indigenous people of the earth.
Right.
Right? When you see usurpers, you see mean men abuse women with limited self-control. That's when the patriarchy has the influence over the matriarchy. You find mean men mistreat women for lack of self-control. right? And the understanding of the relationship is being taught to us through the dynamic of slave lenses anyway, where if you with somebody, you own them now, that's your personal property.
Yeah.
Right? That's the patriarchal dynamic, because that's to interfere with people creating dynastic family units that's powerful and intelligent. Look, I got some homeboys, last name Adams. I won't go into their first names, but they got an uncle that sat them down and told them how to take care of business. And I watched these dudes go from lower middle class, parents working in the factory, and come all the way up on the hustle game to become millionaires because they knew how to stay out of the way of the system, because they was taught certain rules of street etiquette that would keep them out of harm's way. And then the other uncles, like Butch Jones in Detroit, he wasn't that kind of uncle. He was the uncle that just only cared about himself, and his nephews was a means to an end.
Man.
Right? So he get the whole YBI. He ruined all them boys' lives for greed. Instead of giving them the rightful game, he could have kept more of them functional in the community. Right? But he was misleading them on purpose. He knew what he was doing. That's why I don't like him. I ain't never met him. But I watched the story from friends of mine who lived the lifestyle that he manufactured. And it gave me a bitter taste in my mouth about him. Mm-hmm. Right? So we see stuff. Now, if I sat down and have a conversation with him, it's possible my whole perception could change. Because he ain't never told me his story. I only know the story of the ones that suffered under his guidance and direction. The guys that I got to sit down and talk to, the Kirk McGurks, right? He never blamed Butch for nothing. He don't give him no negative press whatsoever, right? And the negative press that was put on Kirk, he may or may not have deserved it. But when I sat down and had a conversation with him and Adrian back in 2000, he told me his story. I understood his perspective and I felt his pain. Glad to see the brother home, right? So when you see these people that's being leaders, you're going to have the ones that's going to try to give you something positive to build on, like my homeboy and his uncle did, or you're going to run into the ones that's selfish and only care about chasing the dollar. They don't care about the collateral damage, as it's called, of the children whose lives they interrupt before they ever realize who they are and what they're capable of doing. I don't got no respect for that. Right? Larry and Jeff, they paid for so many kids to go to college, but we don't talk about that. Right. From prison. Larry is instructing the guys that's out in the streets to make sure the ones going to school don't get harassed and putting them on assignment to hold that down. Because he said everybody can't be in the street. We got to protect the ones that's going to read the books, because we need to get out of this gangbanging and get into this brain banging, or we ain't going to never come up from this condition. Because gangbanging is just establishing your tribal ranking systems. But brain banging is breaking all of the tribes free so we can have a different way to resolve our issues that make more sense than just slaughtering babies in the street. I might have got off the topic of the original question, but go on with the next one, Al.
All right. Hey, we're going to take questions from the crowd. We got about 30 minutes left. Y'all drop your comment in the chat. Drop your questions in the chat for Chief Roy Hayes, and we'll take them right quick. We got about 30 minutes left, y'all. 30 mics out. About 30 mics out. Yeah, I got one for you though, Rod. So, do you think if we went back to our original, because we wearing European clothes, more European dress. We don't wear our original clothes. And then when I got all my
Most of the stuff we wear today was invented over here.
okay, go ahead, go me here what you got.
We've been wearing denim. That's ancient tribal stuff.
Okay,
The way you see the nightlife dress, that's New Orleans right now. That's where that's from.
go ahead.
When you look at what the European was wearing when they came over versus what they was producing in New Orleans, as they say, the culture, the Dapper Dan dress style, that's New Orleans. That's the big N.O. That's the big easy. It get the credit for those because that was our fashion capital of the land.
New
A
Orleans.
lot of the stuff that we thinking is European and African, not. Like they telling us the dashiki from Africa, and I'm dying laughing because we've been wearing them in Mesoamerica for thousands of years. They all through the paintings. And they've been telling us be black and proud and wear this dashiki. That's what you call a cultural crossing. Then that's a point where you need to go do a different research. Because they telling you that the culture is coming from somewhere else, but you got lifetimes of remembering in that hot southwestern sun wearing dashikis.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same as the sundress. European women didn't wear sundresses with the single strap or with the no strap. And that was all created down in the South.
Yeah, I can believe it.
The sundress is what all of the women was wearing, and that lived out in the woods because it was too hot, but they didn't want to walk around naked in front of the children.
Mm-hmm.
So they just throw this thing that became the sundress. They just wrap it around them, pin it in the front, go on out about their business, commando underneath.
So you don't think that different cultures came in and brought their own, like we got a mixed culture of dress,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
we got
So
Irish.
the European influence is mostly on footwear.
Go ahead.
When you're looking at the type, we wore moccasins, and we had a different style of Hold on one second, L.
Go ahead. Hey y'all, peace and love. We got 1,400 people in the building. If you want to show Raw Hayes some love on the Cash App, we dropping the Cash App in the links right now, y'all. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, y'all. We going in. This is the melting pot, man. We've been talking about the melting pot and how everybody came, different tribes came to America to mix in and get the one drop of blood. And just the different cultures. It's like so many different cultures blending in over here. And I noticed, Rod, there are a lot of people around the world. All the cultures is like they imitate the American culture. Even it's based on the time frames. Like right now, the whole world is trying to be like American Nubians, and every time
Everything comes from here, Elder.
Yeah, go ahead.
Everything comes from here.
Go ahead.
Right. The Japanese don't got no problem with us.
No.
The Chinese don't got no problem with us, cause especially
Yeah.
outside of America, we looked at as high value people.
Right.
In America, because we fighting this war, we have no value.
Damn.
We're not supposed to be part of the society because we fight no particular type of war. So when we force ourselves into the society, all of the foreigners come over here wondering why we allow these people to keep us at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
And that people that bring them over here, and they only bring certain ones, they socially program them before they ever get here. And the social programming is to keep them from getting between the righteous more and the dirty more.
Mm.
Stay out them folks' business. Let them fight it out. Let them see if they can find out that what side of the ocean they from. It's right in the George Washington Challenge, Elder.
I wanted my children. Go ahead.
Yeah. So once you know who fighting, you understand why foreign people stay out of the mix. They don't really want to be racist, but the culture over here that they coming into is racist, and their survival depend on them following the culture, right? They tell them how to exploit us, and their survival is predicated upon them listening to the people who's holding the pseudo power and following what they told them. So they set up shop in our community. But when they told them we were such bad people, they didn't tell them that they was killing off our leaders so that we couldn't control our community so that they would have a place for their store to be. That wasn't part of the conversation, right? Yeah, I'm looking in the comments in case a question pop up. But yeah, we the natural warriors. They use us to fight us because they can't beat us. Only we can beat us. Let that sink in. They use us to fight us because they can't beat us. Only we can beat us. So they recruit us to fight against us.
Right. If you look at it, it's mostly they always recruit the young generation, man. Like the youngsters they go after each other, and they keep like a part of me like young boy, but a part of me say because he heard and it's because he's one thing that he said. He said in an interview they asked him about him working for the dark side and him promoting what he promoted, and he said something that made me say that he aware that he being used, but he trapped in it. So what's your thing? What's your thing on that, Roy? On the artists, they say they took a deal, sold a soul, or this to do this promote this type of agenda for the dirty hand. What's your take on that? The people that say they sold a soul, or they can't do nothing about it. They already in too deep. Ain't no
Listen,
turning
man,
back. Go ahead.
that's the biggest crock of BS I ever heard. You cannot sell your soul. You can't sell your soul. That's like trying to sell somebody out of space. If they fool enough to buy it, sell it. But you can't sell your soul. That's the first thing. But what you can sell is your soul's expression in this 3D reality, right? You can sell your services in this 3D reality. You can sell access to your skills in this 3D reality. The only thing they can do to compromise you is contract you to what you can and cannot do. But the contracts have to have a time limit. There's no such thing as an infinite contract, right? The contract can be challenged at any time by either party in the contract, right? But when you find out that somebody got a contract in your name that you didn't sign, like child support, right? I never signed no contract that if I have a child, I'm supposed to pay. That's not in the Constitution. Where you get that from? Right? That's called arbitrary action. An arbitrary action means you took it up on yourself to do this because you felt like it. Right? You can't sell your soul, but you can sell your soul's expression, and you can surrender that expression to the people you sell the control to. They get to tell you how you behave if you want to maintain this, what you asked for. You never knew that if you maintained your own control and used your talents for yourself, that you still could have that same lifestyle, but you won't be compromised, and you'll probably have a higher echelon lifestyle because you're not controlled no more. You on mute, Elder.
Hey, Sophia asks, shout out Sophia. Sophia asks, why do they kill off the firstborn?
It's the first heir.
Okay.
Okay. It's called I think we did a show on this. It's called the sacrifice of first blood.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, the
Right.
blood secrecy. Blood.
Yeah, sacrifice of first blood. Um, the first blood, the first child is the first blood of the mother's womb. Right. And the purpose of killing the firstborn is you killing the first heir, the first person with what we call the right to the throne. Right. Now, the story go back to the Moses story, which is the Akhenaten story, right? Of the Exodus and the plagues, where he said, I killed the firstborn. In the royal families, right? When they wage war, they don't always openly fight with their people. Sometimes they use espionage and assassination, right, in order to maintain their power structure. This is how Caligula ended up being repeatedly raped by his uncle, who was trying to make him unfit to rule, right? And because he was unfit to rule, all his dirt came out in the open. Caligula and his uncle. What'd he do? Soon as he got power, he raped his uncle back. Right? That's tyranny. It's hereditary. Okay, so now the first blood is a sacrifice in mysticism and religion. The sacrifice of the first blood is talking about the blood of the innocent. And there's also the power position of a potential first heir. That power position being usurped when the first child dies, it had to go to a next of kin, another child. But the right now is no longer determined by first in line, first in time. Now it's governed by who's most qualified to fill the position, and then it changes the way that you can ascend to the throne. Right? Only the most ambitious is going to do what's required to ascend to the position. And the ambitious one is the one that don't mind putting in the work in order to be qualified to perform the task that he's out to do. So he live his life developing his skills to be the best whatever that he can be. If you got a higher calling, you learn to be a whole lot of things in the course of unraveling who you are. Because the things that you develop as an external skill becomes a mirror from which you to see an innate ability, right? And so it's all part of ascending, waking from the slumber, getting back on the right path.
Somebody asks, shout out Jedi. I don't understand the question, but I guess he's saying, what's up with the birthright move? The birthrights move.
We're talking about the the Supreme Court ruling on birthright citizenship. That's
Okay.
going back to, so that's going back to like Dawes role and the fallacy of slavery being exposed through the revocation of the birthright citizenship. Because actually, what really birthright citizenship is all of the outlaw children that wasn't part of the treaty clans, right? They automatically was giving them citizenship to enslave them without their knowledge. That's all that was.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that.
Right.
Yep.
By getting rid of the birthright citizenship, it allows or frees up the outlaw tribes to acknowledge self, to be recognize yourself, recognize your kindred, recognize who you is from the original people of the land. They can't tell you we foreigners, but they can tell you we bad, and they can attack us in the name of something called good.
Yeah. Yeah.
right? All the time, they don't even belong here, and all this bad that they using as justification for them to enforce their good wouldn't even be here if the bad guy wasn't playing good cop, bad cop with us.
Yeah. 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 Somebody asked Squid, I think his name is, can you explain the last name White and its origin?
Yeah, so
Go ahead.
that goes back to the White Rose and the Masonic Lodge, Blue
Yeah.
House, White Rose, the White family, right? The Browns tie back to Cleveland. Football team is used to tag the location where the Brown family's longest ancestry stood. So they gave them a sports team and called them the Cleveland Browns, right? But when you're talking about the whites, you got to also remember in Spanish, they blanco, jefe blanco, blanco grande, right?
Mm-hmm.
What they talking about is the boss hog in the white suit, right? He always come in the white suit, jefe blanco, right? That was a status symbol in the culture of people that don't wear suits. But if you go back to the Confederacy, what they told you was gray coats was actually white coats. But the white coats became gray in the time of war through soiling. Couldn't keep it white.
Yeah.
So when you see it in the black and white picture, it looked great.
Yeah.
Dingy white
Yeah, it makes sense.
from fighting in the war,
Yeah, it makes sense.
right? And so um, all of this tie back into the movement of the people on the land, right? The names came from a ranking system, right? The Red family, right? Sometimes they call it the Reed family. The Reed family or the Red family, they tie back to Red Sox, right? What's that? Baltimore.
Yeah, Baltimore Red Sox.
Yeah. So the Red Sox, SOCKS. So the Red Sox is there to tell you something. Why is the Sox red? For walking through the blood. This family had to walk through the blood, and they came out of the Boston region, and now we talking New England states,
Christmas
states
attitude.
that was governed by New England, right? So first, they had the bloodbath, right? And the bloodbath spilled over on the land. And the first to walk through the bloodbath was the ones called the Reds, the Red Sox, right? They used the sports team to mark the area where the most prominent clan was from and made the clan out to be the mascot.
Yeah, hey Rod, you ain't lying about this because Doc talk about some of that in the like the Heisman Trophy and the Oscar Trophy. All these trophies they got, they come from certain things that we already had.
Yeah, that guy on the Heisman, that's
Yeah,
Paul Robeson.
go ahead.
We forget that because he was a theater man, that he was also a superstar, multifaceted athlete. He know before Bo was know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right? He was a football star, a baseball star, and it was something else. So another sport he played probably was track and field or something. But he was a major athlete in college in 3 different sports. He was also the captain of the theater team, right? The poetry team. He was the top person, regardless of skin color, no matter what field of study he went into.
Dang, that's deep. I had to go do some search on this
Right.
dude.
The Heisman Trophy not named after him, but the man on the statue
That's
is
him. Yeah,
patterned after him.
yeah.
Right.
That's A
So
brother.
it's the same with the Oscar. It was a brother that the Oscar is named after.
Yeah.
But we didn't know that you get the Oscar for being the having assimilated the artistic expression in your one drop. That's what that was about.
Yeah. That makes sense. That's some deep.
You already gonna win if you look like us. We don't want you in it. Don't got nothing to do with you. So they barred us from it.
Makes sense.
Right? They barred us from it, not because we didn't deserve it, because we wasn't supposed to be part of the contest.
Yeah.
We got more than a drop of blood. We got gallons of that shit.
Yeah.
we have an unfair advantage. Right? We Mike Tyson on steroids. And they are old Roy Jones.
Yeah.
Come on, man. They don't stand a chance. We are prime Mike Tyson on steroids against an aged Roy Jones. Better yet, an old Sugar Ray Leonard.
Yeah.
Right? We have an unfair advantage in size, strength, and the ability to use the expression of the soul to excel in anything we apply intelligence, strength, and know-how to.
That's facts.
We not the ones that need to assimilate one drop of blood. Therefore, we don't need the stage. It's not our show. That's what the whole struggle was about, keeping us out of the show because it wasn't our show. Why y'all keep trying to get in these other folks' business under their own vine and fig tree? Make your own lane. So we made our own lane. But we got to do something different because y'all can't use our access. We trying to do something here. This will explain to you why you see odd associations, but when you understand Masonic ties, they talk that divided shit in the public, but they ain't divided in the smoke-filled rooms, as Farrakhan called it.
No.
Why? Yeah, they know how no differences. They the same.
They all God.
They don't see no skin color. They don't see no height. They don't see no weight. All they see is effectiveness. But we out here because they being effective, feeling like victims. Because we don't want to grow. So they put us between a stressor and a buffer, severity and mercy, Joaquin and Boaz. And they use that to whoop the people from pillar to post until they wake their ass up. And so I come and explain it. So when you see it, you can't unsee it. When you hear it, you can't unheard it. You understand?
Right.
So, yeah. Hey, look.
Hey, what you say?
You know, from ADX, right?
Uh-huh.
I got to put this in the public domain because it was in the Chicago Tribune.
Okay.
So if y'all want to know more about the story than what I'm going to tell you, it's a Larry Hoover story in the Chicago Tribune. It's about 3 days old now. They reported that somebody had sent a letter from ADX as if it was him.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But they said they know it wasn't him because he wasn't in ADX when the letter got placed in the mail. Right. Now, they said that the letter was on a letterhead of stationery from a Masonic lodge that Larry Hoover didn't have access to, being in prison for 60 years, 50 years.
Yeah.
Right. And they said that the symbols on it was Masonic in nature. This is in the article. Right. Now, as you scroll down further in the article, the reason why I'm bringing this up, because the next part is exactly what I said that they need to do. It tell you exactly, almost word for word, that they had to apply to the parole board with special circumstances, but they didn't say it that way. They was explaining how Larry had to petition the parole board, right, in order to reach out to the governor. The governor gave the parole board power to parole. They don't need his permission to issue a parole.
Right.
But if he want to seek a pardon, he still have to go through the parole board. Right? That forces him to do exactly what I said he have to do. Right? Yeah. Nobody didn't know that Larry Hoover never killed nobody and he was in there on a murder case. Nobody hardly know that he never told nobody to kill nobody and he in there on the murder case. Right? So he in there on the murder case and he didn't tell nobody to kill nobody and he didn't kill nobody. And they gave him 200 years for murder.
Right?
Make it make sense. They used the law that said his person was so influential that he didn't have to give the order and somebody would do it for him. And therefore, they said he guilty of murder.
These people were.
All of this is documented. It's not made up.
I mean, we don't like you. We need something to take him down. Let's just say he did it.
Yeah.
With this.
So they charged him with murder for never giving the order to get somebody killed that he didn't even kill. And because the person got killed, he should have gave the order, but since he didn't get the order, we gonna act like he gave the order and proceed as if he actually gave the order when he gave no orders at all.
These people, man.
That's retarded to me.
Yeah.
So when you read the article, it's critical for y'all to read it because that's the receipt. Now I be telling people, they be saying when I don't put the receipt on the screen, I don't got no receipts. I'm telling you where to look for the information. It's gonna tell you exactly what he got to do. Petition the parole board. That's if he want a pardon. The only thing that his legal team need to know now is don't ask for a pardon. Ask for a special parole. He's eligible for special parole.
Right.
If he asks for a pardon, he gonna become a political ping pong ball for Trump and the governor. Right? So the letter is the fraudulent letter, but it got all of the right answers in it. But they know he couldn't have did it, so they can't hold it against him. And they don't even know where the stationery came from. Because all of the stationery sold there is just legal pads. They don't sell specialized stationery, and you can't order it and not at AdMax. Maybe if you was in a state prison or a federal prison that was less secure, but in there you would not be able to order it. You can barely get letters from your family.
Please.
Right?
You don't get no letters. You get to read them through a screen.
Yeah. But they got to give them stationery to write. But they don't give out Masonic stationery in federal prison commissary. That's not going to happen. But all of the right instructions is in there. Remember that.
Sound like some York rights, Scottish rights, or something going on back end of it.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Whoever wrote the letter knew it was going to get put in the public domain. Once it was put in the public domain, they knew that one of the chiefs was going to reiterate it in the public domain to let them know that the chief got the message. Whoever wrote the letter, because we know it wasn't Larry, because Larry wasn't there.
So they get the Blue House?
It don't matter. The whole thing was whoever wrote it. And I'm saying this for the tribes to see it. I know what I'm talking about, in that we have ways of communicating beyond what's common. The only way that it's actionable to the tribes is it got to be put in the public domain by a competent chief that's not a bond servant. So whoever sent the letter knew it would make news. And they knew that if it make news, that pushes it into the public domain. Now, the only thing that one of the tribe members got to do is point out the Masonic connection to the letter and point out that the message was heard about the process based on the already established structure and process of how to solicit the governor for a pardon. Going back to what I already said, which shows that I already put it in the public domain.
That's right.
So I'm getting my answer back in the public domain. Now, somebody could have just wrote the article and paid for it to be there and it not even be true just to get the message in the public domain.
But we got it.
Right? So once we reiterate the instructions on the proper procedure for Larry to be released and what his lawyer need to do, and we put it in the public domain, all we got to do is let them follow the process. So they use the commutation sentence from President Trump as the compelling cause for special parole, right? And now they have a valid reason to preempt upcoming parole hearing or have his parole hearing that we scheduled for maybe in a couple of years move to immediate consideration based on the change in the circumstances surrounding the case.
Right.
Right. It's legal maneuvering, following the smartest path based on the structure they already have established. Because the president gave him the commutation, thus a competent grounds to request relief from the parole board, who have jurisdictional authority if you petition for a special parole due to new circumstances. Right? So it's like a dude that have exhausted all his pills, they find out he innocent and then they release him. Right? When they release him, they might not want to retry him because they know he innocent, but they don't want him to sue him, so they'll give him a special parole to let him out early. Larry ain't gonna sue him. Ask for the special consideration.
Go ahead.
Right? And the president is the commander-in-chief of the whole country. That's a good enough reason for the parole board. That's the greatest character letter you could ever ask for. Presidential request. And
right.
if he signed the pardon, when it's time to see the parole board, he will send a letter on behalf of the freedom of Larry Hoover, or else he wouldn't have commuted his sentence.
Right.
So now the lawyers know that he's watching. All they got to do is, while they asking for special consideration, ask for a letter of recommendation to the parole board for special consideration due to the circumstances surrounding his commutation of sentence. Right? That way you don't have to bring up that he was put in there under the COINTELPRO Act.
Right.
We know it, but if this is already an established process that we could exploit to expedite the situation by following the proper steps. Right? So you just ask for a reference letter from the president to the parole board. What CEO not going to take into consideration what the president of the United States say?
Right. Active.
So what they board members going to do? If the CEO going to take consideration, what the board members going to? Most likely they going to follow pattern.
Right.
Right. And if they want to make their CEO look good, the board member will follow through with what the president said so that they can make their CEO look like he was really competent when he was a befuddling idiot the whole time. But because they know that to increase the stock value of their company, right? The board will do it without the permission of the CEO because they have jurisdictional authority in the corporation to execute the function. And the reference from the president gonna make the CEO look good because it's gonna increase the publicity is gonna increase the stock value.
Right. And everybody, it works for everybody. Everybody's happy at the end of this.
Right. And then the gratitude of the community to the president for sending the recognition might get him another position on the other side of the fall of America as somebody important making decisions and negotiating on behalf of the people.
Now that's a way to brown nose right there, ain't it? That's a good way to brown nose.
You know, it just makes sense. You scratch my back, I scratch yours. Remember,
Hey, that's how you
your
do it.
ally is your ally because y'all have a common interest or a common enemy. And y'all come together to accomplish the goal and success. It don't mean that once success is acquired that your ally is still your friend. He might never been your friend. Because your ally is looking out for his self-interest and your self-interest equally matched for the maximum amount of gain. Right? So if our self-interest match, we make an alliance and become allies, but we don't gotta like each other and we don't gotta be friends.
Right.
But once the common goal has been accomplished, we might turn into bitter enemies because the next goal might not be a common goal. You understand what I'm saying? So your ally might be offended when you originally was going after their goal, but now you're going after the oil. Oh no. Can't have both of them.
Right.
Right. So when the common interest is no longer in common, allies could just become as easily friend as foe. Military strategy. If you don't understand the hierarchy and the ranking system in the military, then you don't know how to strategize. You can't be a toy soldier. You got to be a whole general in this game.
Right.
You can't command the troops not knowing what to do. Because they're not going to follow no incoherent orders. Because if the orders are incoherent, they don't know what to do anyway. But soon as the order is coherent and it makes sense, and then the why is explained to them, and you take the exploitation value out of it, where nobody's being done wrong, you give extra vigor and enthusiasm in the soldier to execute the order. Right? And sometimes you have to force the soldier to execute the order in order for the soldier to feel a sense of accomplishment at meeting the goal on their own. That's called trusting them with what you told them to do and get out their way. Right? All this is understanding how to move the troops. Right? It's also culturally embedded in the chiefdoms as we develop into a chief. What kind of chief are we developing in? You got a peace chief, a war chief, you got a scout chief. What kind of chief is you going to evolve in?
Right.
You know? So as you evolve, you study the other chiefs and you look for what none of them is studying to become, and that's what your assignment is. Soon as you realize ain't none of the other chiefs trying to figure this part out right here, that's your part to figure out. Once you get it figured out, you put it in the public so the rest of the chiefs can have access to the information because it might be able to help them solve the part that they working on. Each one teach one. We all gonna reach something.
Right. Hey, shout out Brother Love, man. OG Brother Love, man. Hey, everybody get up out of here, bro. Hey, we hit the 2-hour mark. Another one. After the in the famous words of DJ Khaled, another one. Right? We always dropping them bangers, y'all. Hey, hit that like, hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. If you want to show Brother Rod Hayes some love, like I said, we got the Cash App on the thing. I think the Cash App back working now. If you've seen your back, send it to the PayPal. If you can send it to the PayPal. We got about 1,500 people on. Everybody send them $5. If you don't want to send them $5, send them $1. That'll put them in the game, right? And we gonna keep this thing going, and because this is what we doing, man. We just trying to finish it up, man. Is just have everybody to where they totally woke on. All we need is mass awareness to win this thing. We don't need to physically fight them. We don't got to set up no camp and none of that. All we got to do is get mass awareness, and it's game over. I'm telling you.
Look, you can see the change in the algorithm over the last few years too, because the whole content of social media now is either about us being the original people or somebody trying to dispute us being the original people.
That's right.
That's the main social media collaboration that's taking place right now.
Right.
So it's going to eventually compel enough of us to investigate to realize who's the truth and who's the falsehood.
That's right.
No, but you always say when the truth on the manifest, falsehood flee.
That's right.
And Rod said when falsehood flee, that's when we throw a rock and bust him upside the back of his head as he get the F on.
Make sure you hit him dead in the back of his head. Make sure you hold you hold one eye open when you throwing that mug. Make sure you aiming. You know what I'm saying? Like you got then lean, cop back with it. Cop back and open the one eye.
So remember, Trump appointed a pardon czar too. And I'm pretty sure that Larry's lawyer could talk to her, and she might even come down and say something on Larry's behalf. Because she's the one who recommended his pardon. Once the floodgate open, it's open. That's all I can say. Once the floodgate open, ain't no closing it.
Yeah.
We just trying to get it open. We need the old man home. Right? Blue House. Rolling on Trues and Vogues, box Chevy. It's a caddy in the mix. It's a penalty of leadership. A big 50 flip. On the Gorilla House, Gorilla Knock. On the post. Pounding on my chest, pounding on the concrete. They can say what they want to say, but we won't be beat. If it's a game of intellect, then I'll intellectually entertain thee. In order for you to see what I see and break us all free.
Go ahead.
You understand? So once the floodgate is open, it's open.
It's
if we can do it for one, the rest of them walk behind shortly thereafter. One way or the other.
Hey, it's already open. We already down here. Ain't no going back up here. We already down here now, baby.
In the immortal words of Jacob 5-2, baby, we all gas, no brakes.
Hey, ain't no turning
Full
back.
speed ahead, balls to the wall, no retreat, no surrender. Never give up, never give in. Full throttle ahead, run their ass over like an 18-wheeler.
Said, man, let him go. You know, hey, that's all we already had. We already fall downhill already now, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hey,
take us on home, Mel.
Hey, yeah. Hey, peace and love. Like I say, free all the political prisoners. Free the master teacher, Dr. Malachi Z. York. Larry, who was on the way home. Free Jeff Ford. They're going to be all next. All the political prisoners. We love you all. We send peace and love throughout the balanced universe to all. And we welcome the matriarchs. We restoring that energy back on the land so we can get the earth back on course again. Like you know what I'm saying? We get the earth back on course once the matriarchs get back control of the wheel. And so peace and love.
There's one thing I forgot, Elder. We was talking about Boston Red Sox, right?
Go ahead.
It's called the Boston Massacre.
Yeah.
It's the Boston Massacre. That's the blood that the Red Sox walked through.
Yeah. Christmas Attic is the first one to die in the Boston Massacre. Yeah. Hey, we love you all. And like I say, we send peace and love throughout the boundless universe. Wadu, Hotel, Peace, Islam, all that. and a bag of chips. We out.